Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, The Eyes Have It. This is about the importance of eye contact when public speaking. Where do you look? How can you use your eyes to create engagement, to read the room, to create a different aspect of public speaking? We've got our non-verbal communication, so this is our hands, our gestures, but the eye contact is part of your non-verbal communication. So Peter Dew is my name, public speaking trainer and coach, and it's my pleasure to be with you for about 30 minutes to give you one or two tips as you move forward the next time you're on stage, the next time you're in front of a group of people at a meeting, you can be more effective. This is a micro skill, eye contact, but goes all the way through public speaking and is really valuable to know. And you can also eliminate some of those mistakes. We've had a bit of a chat while we're waiting. What to do? Ask questions as we go. Type them in the chat box. Take notes, of course. Participate. So maybe you've seen something. Maybe you've made a mistake. You've recognized yourself. Maybe you've got a presentation coming up next week, the week after. What are you going to do with your eye contact? What are you going to do to make this more effective? How can you apply this knowledge to your own personal circumstances? Because this webinar is not about me. This webinar is about you and helping you move forward. So eye contact matters. I want to know, what are you doing to ensure effective eye contact? How do you know that your eye contact is effective, it's appropriate, it's connecting with the audience, it's engaging the audience, it's letting the audience know that you care. In the Zoom world, in the webinar world, the eye contact, unfortunately, is straight down the camera. Not at my screen, which is down here, not at my notes, which would be over there, but straight down the camera. This is my eye contact with you. There's not much more that I can do with a webinar. In a hybrid environment, so I've got people in the room over there, I need to turn to them, give them attention, but I must also respect my people that have Zoomed in, WebEx, Teams in as well. Hybrid is really tough. This is mostly relating to face-to-face, in-person training, workshops, seminars, keynote speaking. My personal philosophy, when I've got a group of people in a room, when I'm presenting to a conference with 200, 300 people, is that my lips do not move unless I'm looking at someone in the room. That means I'm having individual one-on-one conversations. I move to this person over here. I speak to them for about 3 to 5 seconds. Then I'll move to somewhere else, somewhere down the back of the room, and I'll speak to them for 4 or 5 seconds. Then I'll look at someone down the front and speak to them for 3 to 5 seconds. So I'm having individual one-on-one conversations. I try to avoid looking to the roof as I'm speaking and trying to gather my thoughts. I try to avoid looking at my feet, trying to remember the past as I try to recall facts. At job interview, an example of my team building skills. My aim is to look at the interview panel and try and remember those answers or work out a solution without looking to the roof or looking to the floor. So first of all, peripheral vision is really important. While I'm looking at one person and talking to them, my peripheral vision needs to pick up what's happening to the rest of the room. If I'm having a conversation with you and I'm asking you something, or you ask me a question as a presenter, and everyone else in the room does this, my peripheral vision needs to pick that up, because you've just raised the topic that everyone else thinks is irrelevant, outside of scope. And I will use that indicator of everyone going, look, that's a really good question. Let's have a chat about that at morning tea. So I'm going to take it out of the room because everyone else has indicated to me, No, this is not appropriate. This is your peripheral vision, picking up what's happening in the room. The other thing that can happen is you can ask me a question and I can think, oh, that's a stupid question. I'm now going to shut you down. I'm going to ignore that question. And everyone else in the room does this. My peripheral vision should now pick up that the whole room has indicated I need to answer this question. If I don't, say, oh, no, look, that's outside of scope. I don't want to talk about that. I've just lost the entire room because you have all nodded with eagerness. Another mistake is, as a speaker, you'll say something and the whole room will do this. The whole room stopped breathing. What is that trigger? What did you just say that caused the whole room to stop breathing? The mistake that a speaker will do is to trigger the room, not recognize it, and keep speaking. Now, if the whole room stops breathing, I need to take a step back, literally and metaphorically, and say, look, just before I move on, I understand that this is going to cause some concern for people. Then I need to find some common ground. But this is what your eye contact does to peripheral vision. I've got a little note there for you. Learn to juggle. You cannot juggle 3 balls. I can't do more than 3. Well, I can't do 3 very well without having really good peripheral vision. So this is why I'm making eye contact with one person and picking up what's happening for the rest of the room. Now, this is how when you see people yawn or they starting to zone out, you know the energy in the room has dropped. You're responsible. You're the presenter. You're the speaker. You need to do something. You need to get people on their feet. You need to increase the energy. You need to move closer to the microphone, increase your volume because it's time for you to wake up. That's peripheral vision. Job interview. If the job interview panel is falling asleep, they're zoning out, and you think, oh, I've got no hope of this job. You could be interviewee number 5 and they're tired. You can take ownership of that situation and increase the energy of the room and be a little bit more intense, and the interview panel will wake up. Peripheral vision, really powerful when public speaking. It's how you read the room. It's how you work out if everyone's on the page with you or, no, I don't think so, Peter. The ideal eye contact for an individual, I think, is about 4 to 6 seconds. If it's less than 3 seconds, it's kind of like you're shifting around all the time. And those people that won't genuinely connect with you and make eye contact, we tend to lose trust, and we see that perhaps they're not as honest. I call this sometimes, and I may be disrespectful, I call it the used car salesman phenomena. So the used car salesman is trying to sell you a lemon. Yeah, it's a really good car. Yep, it's got a good service record, and they won't make eye contact with you because they're not telling the truth. So eye contact is how we build trust, how people believe us, how we build connection. Shifty eyes, not so trustworthy. The other thing is, if you look at one individual for too long, then that's seen as creepy. So there's that nice sweet spot, which I reckon is about 4 to 6 seconds with one individual. Less could be a little bit shifty, more bit intense, bit creepy. Next tip, eye contact overrides your gestures, what you do with your hands. So if you gesture somewhere, a directional gesture, let's say you've got a whiteboard or a flip chart and you want people to look at it, your eyes must follow the gesture. Otherwise, people are going to follow your eyes. If I and I do this in a workshop, 10 to 15 people, I just choose one person and I look at them and say, hey, I think there's a hole in the roof. Nobody looks at the roof because I've got that eye contact and they're fixated on my eyes. I think there's a hole in the roof. If I want someone to follow me, my gesture, then I need to follow with my eyes that gesture. I think there's a hole in the roof, and everyone looks up. So just using these two little pictures here, allow me to grab my mouse. This person is referring to a flip chart, but his eye contact is fixated on them. So they're very unlikely to be looking at that flip chart. This person over here has got some question marks in the air coming out of a watering can, and her eyes are looking up. So you will follow that watering can if she was presenting to you. So just, as I said, these are micro skills. So a subtle use of eye contact. If you want someone to follow, so out there, they reckon that we are environmental vandals. The community out there thinks that we, as a mining company, are environmental vandals. If you want a mentor to follow, think of your weather presenters. They have a synoptic chart behind them, and when they point to it, they look at it. Cyclone forming off the northwest of Western Australia. Perth's going to be 30 degrees. Melbourne's going to be 28 degrees and fine. They look at their synoptic chart, so the viewers follow their eyes to the synoptic chart. Any questions, any comments at this stage? Chat, nothing can chat, all right. My apologies. So the next one I want to talk to you with eye contact is a thing called 2-point, 3-point eye contact. Let me illustrate 2-point first of all. Let me take a step back and do 1 point. 1 point is when you think inwardly. So someone might ask you a question and you're thinking about it. So my eye contact is down, but I'm not talking. I'm just 2-point is when I'm looking at another person. So we're now having a 2-point conversation. I'm looking at you, you're looking at me. 3-point is when you have a third point to look at, where both people look at it. Remember, your eye contact overrides gestures. So 3-point is where your eye contact will go somewhere else. So out there is a third point. This report that you've reported, I really like it, but on page 5, you're going to your doctor. So see here on the X-ray, see that little grey line there? That indicates a fracture. So the third point is a report, an attendance record, a piece of paper, a pathology report, an X-ray, a flip chart, a whiteboard. I always have a flip chart when I'm presenting face-to-face on one side, and I have a whiteboard on the other side. So sometimes I go to a flip chart. The whiteboard is often pre-written with some stuff that I want to share. Sometimes flip charts are pre-written. Then there's spontaneous stuff where, let me show you, and I'll go to a flip chart. I need to look at the flip chart as I show people, as I talk about what I'm trying to describe. Here's the thing, here's the gold. When you deliver good news, you do 2-point communication. So yeah, thanks for coming. You've been doing a really good job. We're ahead of schedule, and I just want to really thank you for, being such a great worker, great team member. When you deliver bad news, you should go to a third point, and it should be specific. If I do 2 point, look, yeah, thanks for coming today. We've had some complaints. Apparently you're not pulling your weight and regularly you are turning up late. Now, I'm making you the problem. And those of you who've done any psychology will know it's not you that's the problem, it's the behavior. And so what I would rather do is start off with 2 point. So thanks for coming today. I just want to have a quick chat about your attendance. So if you have a look at your attendance list, you'll see you're away on Monday. You're also away last Thursday and the week before. Seems to be a big problem with your attendance record. Is there anything I can do to help you resolve that issue? Is there anything that's happening that we can help you with so that we can improve this attendance record? So it's the attendance record that's the problem, not you. This preserves the relationship, allows people to breathe, and takes the problem away from the individual. So just imagine I'm a doctor and I'm giving you bad news about your pathology report. And I look at you, down the gun barrel at your eyes. That's going to be quite confronting. Whereas if I show you the pathology report, I show you the high number, maybe the cholesterol, and maybe it's in red. I say, look, your cholesterol is a little bit high, and this increases your risk of heart attack. But don't worry, I'm going to work with you, and we're going to lower this high cholesterol. Now, here's a tip for you. If someone gives you negative feedback or says you're doing something wrong, and they're using 2 point communication, one of the responses I would say would be, show me. Where? Show me. And that makes them turn to a 3rd point or find the evidence. Your absenteeism has increased over the last 6 months and your attendance is really bad. Show me. So 2.3 point, high level nonverbal communication using your eye contact. Positive news, generally 2 point. Negative news, show them. Go to a 3rd point. So that they can look at it, they can breathe, they don't feel that you're directing your negative energy towards them. It's the report, it's the flip chart, it's the people out there, the 3rd point that you're directing your negative energy to. This comes from a gentleman named Michael Grinder, who is an expert in nonverbal communication. Feel free to Google Michael Grinder. He does lots of little videos, lots of other things in terms of nonverbal tips you can learn from Michael Grinder, YouTube videos, how to deal with difficult people, a whole range of things around nonverbal communication, around your presence, around breathing, around eye contact. Next one, verticality of eye contact. Looking up, looking down, but you're in control. You're the speaker, you're the presenter, you're the trainer. When I gesture high, and you look at my gesture, and I look at my gesture as well, so eyes, I need to go high. You go into your head and you start to think, yeah, I wonder how that would work. When I gesture low, how would that feel? Just imagine if that happened to you. I take you down into your gut and you start to experience those feelings. So where do you want to take your audience? Do you want them to be thinking and analyzing, or do you want them to get a little bit emotional about it? Do you want them to start to experience that in their gut? Just by you deciding to gesture high or gesture low, you can create a different response in your audience. As I said, this is micro skill and high level stuff. The classic example of this is when a counsellor, a trauma counsellor, is debriefing someone who's been in some sort of trauma. Think of a bank robbery holdup. So they'll go to the whiteboard. So can you describe what happened? Yep, 7:45. Banks wouldn't be open at 7:45, 9:45. So, yep, came in wearing a balaclava, demanded. So as we're putting that up on the board, the person is going high. So they're thinking in their head and they're describing. If I did this and I sat down and I'm counselling you, and I said, so can you tell me what happened when the bank robber came in? You're going to take them back and they're going to relive that trauma and be re-traumatized. And this is one time when you don't want them to relive the emotion. You just want to gather the facts of what happened. And then you can start your counseling. So verticality of eye contact. Gesture high, bring people's eye contacts up. The whiteboard and the flip chart takes people high. If you want people thinking, you want them to get more responsive from an emotional perspective to feel it. You can even take a seat. And I've lowered, and now when I gesture lower down, that takes people into their feeling that visceral response. High, thinking, analysing, considering. What would that look like? How would you handle this? Low, feeling, experiencing the emotions. Bring your gestures down. Last tip for eye contact, keeping your audience awake. Unfortunately, today I may have put you to sleep because your eye contact is looking straight at your screen. When I'm working in a room, I will have my flip chart on one side and I will move to one side. And even though I'm still in screen, I'm hoping your eyes have moved just a little bit. Then I can come back to the center, I can resettle, I can present a little bit more. And if I've got a PowerPoint behind me, I will move off to the side, show my PowerPoint. And then I might have a flip chart or a whiteboard over this side, so your eyes are moving. So it's by keeping your eyes moving in your sockets that you keep your audience awake. People don't fall asleep driving motor vehicles when they're doing S-bends. The figure 8 racetrack, people don't fall asleep. Going around the hairpin bend, people don't fall asleep. People fall asleep driving on dead straight roads. So if you put up a PowerPoint and you leave that PowerPoint up and you talk to that for 60 minutes, people are driving on a dead straight road and they will fall asleep. So one of your challenges is to keep people's eyes moving in their socket. That's how you keep them awake. That's how you make sure they don't fall asleep. This is in person-to-person presentations. In Zoom, in a bigger group, I can send you to breakout rooms. I can ask you to contribute. In an online workshop, this is a short 30-minute tip webinar. So there we go. Your peripheral vision, you pick up and read the room. It's how we're seen as being trustworthy and our honesty. Remember, if I want you to look up there, over there, I need to follow it with my eye contact. Your eye contact overrides your gestures. So make sure your eye contact is aligned with your gestures. 2-point versus 3-point. 2-point, hey, great job. Really appreciate. 3rd point, thanks for coming. I just want to talk about your pathology report here. Your cholesterol is a little bit high, but don't worry. I specialize in bringing your cholesterol down. Verticality, and keep your audience awake by not letting them drive in a straight line from Port Hedland to Broome or from Kalgoorlie to Perth, 600 kilometres of, yep, you are going to fall asleep. What have I got coming up? Lots of workshops coming up. We're back doing some public workshops in 2023, 1st of February in Melbourne, 7th of February in Port Hedland, then 28th of March, 29th of March back in Melbourne. Webinars, because you are on this webinar. A whole host of webinars already scheduled, 24th of January. Statistics that you should know about. Good one. 75% of people when public speaking experience glossophobia. That is the fear of public speaking. That's just one statistic. How to get feedback, how to deal with fear of what other people think of you. Should we reveal our vulnerability? Webinars, all on my website, free, short, sharp, 30-minute micro skills. Peter Jew's my name. You know how to reach me. I'd welcome any comments. If you can share those workshops with any of your colleagues, that would be helpful. Any last questions, any last comments, and then I'll let you go 5 minutes early. No comments? Thank you for your time. Thank you for attending. Remember, eye contact matters. Hang on, just one Q&A. I'll just open that one up. Thanks, Heidi. So just remember, eye contact matters. It's a micro skill that can have a profound impact on your audience and your ability to connect, be influential, and be an effective public speaker. Peter Jew's my name, public speaking trainer and coach, and I wish you well on your public speaking journey. Bye for now.